Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Farid. I'm a health educationist and I'll be your teacher for this subject. In this video, we're going to learn about weight management. By the end of this lesson, all students will be able to describe the current prevalence of overweight and obesity, to identify the risk factors and diseases associated with overweight or obesity, to define body mass index and waist circumference and identify indications for use, to define and distinguish among healthy weight, overweight, and obesity, and lastly, to be aware of emerging research and issues to weight management. Achieving and sustaining appropriate body weight across the lifespans is vital to maintaining good health and quality of life. Many behavioral, environmental, and genetic factors have been shown to affect a person's body weight. Calorie balance over time is the key to weight management. Calorie balance refers to the relationship between calories consumed from foods and beverages and calories expended in normal body functions. For example, the metabolic processes and through physical activity. People cannot control the calories expended in the metabolic processes, but they can control what they eat and drink, as well as how many calories they use in physical activity. Calories consumed must equal calories expended for a person to maintain the same body weight. Consuming more calories than expended will result in weight gain. Conversely, consuming fewer calories than expended will result in weight loss. This can be achieved over time by eating fewer calories, being more physically active, or, best of all, the combinations of the two. Maintaining a healthy body weight and preventing excess weight gain throughout the lifespans are highly preferable to losing weight after weight gains. So once a person becomes obese, reducing body weight back to a healthy range requires significant effort over a span of time, even years. People who are most successful at losing weight and keeping it off do so through continued attentions to calorie balance. The prevalence of overweight and obesity is dramatically higher now than it was a few decades ago. This is true for all age groups, including children, adolescents, and adults. The World Health Organization, or WHO, said obesity has reached epidemic proportions globally, with at least 2.8 million people dying each year as a result of being overweight or obese. According to the World Population Review in 2019, Malaysia has the highest prevalence of obesity among adults in Southeast Asia at 15.6%, followed by Brunei with 14.1%, Thailand 10%, and Indonesia 6.9%. The National Health and Mobility Survey, or also known as NHMS, in 2019 findings, meanwhile showed that 50.1% of adults in Malaysia were either overweight or obese, in which 30.4% were overweight and 90.7% obese. In comparisons, Malaysia's overweight and obese rates stood up at 29.4% and 15.1% respectively in 2011. The NHMS 2019's data also revealed that the overweight and obesity levels were particularly high among women with 54.7%, the ethnic Indians 63.9%, and those in the 55 to 59 age group, with the equivalent of 60.9%. All of the information stated previously are now grouped into these infographics. If you wanted to learn more about these infographics, you can click on the source of National Health and Mobility Survey. The high prevalence of overweight and obesity across the population is of concern because individuals who are overweight, obese, compared to those with a normal or healthy weight, are at increased risk for many serious diseases and health conditions, including the following: all causes of death, high blood pressure, also known as hypertension, high low-density lipoprotein cholesterols, low high-density lipoprotein cholesterols, or high levels of triglycerides, or known as dyslipidemia. Type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, strokes, gallbladder disease, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea and breathing problems, some cancers such as endometrial, breast, colon, kidney, gallbladder, and liver, low quality of life, mental illness such as clinical depressions, anxiety, and other mental disorders, body pain, and difficulty with physical functionings. Ultimately, obesity can increase the risk of premature death. These increased health risks are not limited to adults. Weight-associated diseases and conditions that were once diagnosed primarily in adults are now observed in children and adolescents with excess body fats. For example, cardiovascular disease risk factors such as high blood cholesterol and hypertension and type 2 diabetes are now increasing in children and adolescents. The adverse effects also tend to persist through the lifespans, as children and adolescents who are overweight and obese are at substantially increased risk of being overweight and obese as adults and developing weight-related chronic diseases later in life. Primary prevention of obesity, especially in childhood, is an important strategy for combating and reversing the obesity epidemic. Maintaining a healthy weight is also important for certain subgroups of the populations, including women who are capable of becoming pregnant, pregnant women, and older adults. So women are encouraged to achieve and maintain a healthy weight before becoming pregnant. This may reduce a woman's risk of complications during pregnancy, increase the chances of a healthy infant birth weight, and improve the long-term health of both mother and infant. So pregnant women are encouraged to gain weight within the 2019 Institute of Medicine's gestational weight gain guidelines. Maternal weight gain during pregnancy outside the recommended range is associated with increased risk for maternal and child death. For adults ages 65 years and older who are overweight are encouraged to not gain additional weight. Among older adults who are obese, particularly those with cardiovascular disease risk factors, intentional weight loss can be beneficial and results in improved quality of life and reduced risk of chronic diseases and associated disabilities. So now let's learn about assessing body weight and body compositions. Body mass index, is also known as BMI, is a number calculated from a person's weight and height. BMI is a fairly reliable indicator of body fatness for most people. BMI does not measure body fat directly, but research has shown that BMI correlates to direct measures of body fat, such as underwater weighing and dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, or known as a DXA. BMI can be considered an alternative for direct measures of body fats. Additionally, BMI is an expensive and easy to perform method of screening for weight categories that may lead to health problems. So how to use BMI? So BMI is used as a screening tool to identify possible weight problems for adults. However, BMI is not a diagnostic tool. For example, a person may have a high BMI. However, to determine if excess weight is a health risk, a healthcare provider would need to perform further assessments. These assessments might include skin fold thickness measurements, evaluations of your diet, physical activity, family histories, and other appropriate health screenings. So calculating BMI is one of the best methods for population assessments of overweight and obesity. Because calculation requires only height and weight, it is inexpensive and easy to use for clinicians and for the general public. The use of BMI allows people to compare their own weight status to that of the general populations. BMI is calculated the same way for both adults and children. The calculation is based on the following formulas. You can either use the metric units or the English units. For metric units, the formula for BMI is weight in kilograms divided by height in meters squared. Since height is commonly measured in centimeters, divide height in centimeters by hundreds to obtain height in meters. As for the English units, calculate the BMI by dividing weight in pounds by height in inches squared and multiplying by a conversion factor of 703. In order for you to interpret the BMI for adults 20 years old and older, BMI is interpreted using standard weight status categories that are the same for all ages and for both men and women. Whereas for children and teens, on the other hand, the interpretations of BMI is both age and sex specifics. So the standard weight status categories associated with BMI ranges for adults are shown in the following tables on the right. If you wanted to learn more, You can click on the following link as a quick reference to determine the BMI. So what are the factors contributing to overweight and obesity? The environmental factors. The overall environment in which many Malaysians now live, work, learn, and play has contributed to the obesity epidemic. Ultimately, individuals choose the type and amount of food they eat and how physically active they are. However, the choices are often limited by what is available in a person's environment, including stores, restaurants, schools, and work sites. Environment affects both sides of the calorie balance equations. It can either promote overconsumption of calories and discourage physical activities and calorie expenditure. Also, over the past several decades, transportations and technological advances have meant that people now expend fewer calories to perform tasks of everyday life. Consequently, many people today need to make a special effort to be physically active during leisure time to meet physical activity needs. Unfortunately, levels of leisure time physical activity are very low. The genetics also play roles. Obesity is a complex, multifactorial chronic disease developing from interactive influences of numerous factors: social, behavioral, physiological, metabolic, cellular, and molecular. Genetic influences are difficult to explain, and identifications of the genes is not easily achieved through studies. Furthermore, whatever the influence the genotype has on the etiology of obesity, it is generally attenuated or exacerbated by non-genetic factors. The hormone also play roles. From the research currently available, several genes seem to have the capacity to cause obesity or to increase the likelihood of becoming obese. Leptin and ghrelin are two hormones that have been recognized to have a major influence on energy balance. Leptin is a mediator of long-term regulations of energy balance, suppressing food intake and thereby inducing weight loss. Ghrelin, on the other hand, is a fast-acting hormone, seemingly playing a role in meal initiations. Next is the metabolic rates. Numerous aspects of your metabolism play a role in determining whether you lose, gain, or maintain your weight. We all have a distinctive ability to burn energy called basal metabolic rate. So BMR is the minimal rate of energy expenditure the body uses in order to survive and maintain vital functions in the body. So resting metabolic rates takes into account BMR and any additional energy used during activities of daily living such as eating, digestion, sitting, or standings. Exercise metabolic rate refers to the energy that is expended during exercise or physical activity. So a person's metabolic rates can change throughout one's lifespans and can be affected by puberty, hormonal changes, age, physical activity, and etc. Unfortunately, our metabolism naturally slows down as we age, making it much more difficult for all of us to lose weight, especially at middle age. And lastly, our current dietary intake. So the current dietary intake among Malaysians has contributed to the obesity epidemic. So many children and adults have a usual calorie intake that exceeds their daily needs, and they are not physically active enough to compensate for these intakes. So these combinations sets them on the track to gain weight. So why are Malaysians getting fat? On the basis of national survey data, the average calorie intakes among women and men older than 19 years old are estimated to be 1,785 and 2,640 calories per day respectively. While these estimates do not appear to be excessive, the numbers are difficult to interpret because survey respondents, especially individuals who are overweight or obese, often underreport dietary intakes. So well-controlled studies suggest that the actual number of calories consumed may be higher than the estimates. So how to balance our calories and eating healthfully? Controlling calorie intake from foods and beverages is fundamental to achieving and attaining calorie balance. Understanding calorie needs, knowing food sources of calories, and recognizing associations between foods and beverages and higher or lower body weight are all important concepts when building an eating pattern that promotes calorie balance and weight management. Many Malaysians are unaware of how many calories they need each day or the calorie contents of foods and beverages. The total number of calories a person needs each day varies depending on a number of factors, including the person's age, gender, height, weight, and level of physical activity. In addition, a desire to lose, maintain, or gain weight affects how many calories should be consumed. Estimates range from 1,600 to 2,400 calories per day for adult women and 2,000 to 3,000 calories per day for adult men, depending on age and physical activity levels. So within each age and gender category, the low end of the range is for sedentary individuals. The high end of the range is for active individuals. Due to reductions in basal metabolic rate that occurs with aging, calorie needs generally decrease for adults as they age. Estimated needs for young children range from 1,000 to 2,000 calories per day, and the range for older children and adolescents varies substantially from 1,400 to 3,200 calories per day, with boys generally having higher calories needs than girls. These are only estimates, and more accurate calorie needs may be determined using the Harris-Benedict equations, which I'm going to show you in the next slides. The accurate calorie needs for our body can be determined using the Harris-Benedict equations. So these equations will be divided into two different steps. So the first step is calculating the Harris-Benedict BMR. So fun facts, the original Harris-Benedict equations was originally published in 1918 and 1919. The BMR calculations differ for both men and women. You can use the equation stated, but ensure that your weight is now converted into pounds and your height is in inches. Once you have successfully obtained your BMR, either for men or women, you can move on to step 2, which is to determine the recommended intakes. So the following tables enables calculations of an individual's recommended daily calories intake to maintain their current weight. If you have little to no exercise, your daily kilocalories needed is equals to BMR times 1.2. If you're light exercise, for example 1 to 3 days per week, your daily kilocalories needed is equivalent to BMR times 1.375. If you are doing moderate exercise, which is equivalent to 3 to 5 days per week, your daily kilocalories needed is equivalent to BMR times 1.55. If you are doing heavy exercise, which is equivalent to 6 to 7 days per week, your daily kilocalories needed is equivalent to BMR times 1.725. If you are doing a very heavy exercise, which is twice per day or extra heavy workouts in a day, your daily kilocalories needed is equivalent to BMR times 1.9. You can refer to this table to estimate the amount of calories needed to maintain calorie balance for various gender and age groups at 3 different levels of physical activity. The estimates are rounded to the nearest 200 calories, and individuals' calorie needs may be higher or lower than these average estimates. For calorie balance, the focus should be on total calorie intakes, but intake of some foods and beverages that are widely over or under-consumed has been associated with effects on body weight. In studies that have held total calorie intake constant, there is little evidence that any individual food groups or beverages have a unique impact on body weight. Although total calorie intake is ultimately what affects calorie balance, some foods and beverages can be easily overconsumed, which results in a higher total calorie intake. As individuals vary a great deal in their dietary intake, the best advice is to monitor dietary intake and replace foods higher in calories with nutrient-dense foods and beverages relatively low in calories. So the following guidance may help individuals control their total calorie intakes and manage their body weight. First, increase intake of whole grains, vegetables, and fruits. Moderate evidence shows that adults who eat more whole grains, particularly those higher in dietary fiber, have a lower body weight compared to adults who eat fewer whole grains. Moderate evidence in adults and limited evidence in children and adolescents suggests that increased intake of vegetables and/or fruits may protect against weight gain. Secondly, reduce intake of sugar-sweetened beverages. This can be accomplished by drinking fewer sugar-sweetened beverages and/or consuming smaller portions. Strong evidence shows that children and adolescents who consume more sugar-sweetened beverages have higher body weight compared to those who drink less, and moderate evidence also supports this relationship in adults. Sugar-sweetened beverages provide excess calories and few essential nutrients to the diet and should only be consumed when nutrient needs have been met and without exceeding daily calories limits. Next, monitor intakes of 100% fruit juice, especially for children and adolescents. For those who are overweight or obese, for most children and adolescents, intakes of 100% fruit juice is not associated with body weight. However, limited evidence suggests that increased intake of 100% juice has been associated with higher body weight in children and adolescents who are overweight or obese. And lastly, monitor the calorie intakes from alcoholic beverages, especially for adults. Moderate evidence suggests that moderate drinking of alcoholic beverages is not associated with weight gain. However, heavier than moderate consumption of alcohol over time is associated with weight gain. So because alcohol is often consumed in mixtures with other beverages, the calorie content of accompanying mixtures would be considered in calculating the calorie contents of alcoholic beverages. So reducing alcohol intake is a strategy that can be used by adults to consume fewer calories. So what are the principles for promoting calorie balance and weight management? To address the current calorie imbalance in Malaysia, individuals are encouraged to become more conscious of what they eat and what they do. This means increasing awareness of what, when, why, and how much they eat, deliberately making better choices. So several behaviors and practices have been shown to help people manage their food and beverage intakes and calorie expenditure and ultimately manage body weight. So the behaviors with the strongest evidence related to body weight includes focus on the total number of calories consumed, maintaining a healthy eating pattern at an appropriate calorie level within the AMDR is advisable for weight management. Consuming an eating pattern low in calorie density may help to reduce calorie intakes and improve body weight outcomes and overall health. Next, monitor food intake. Monitoring intake has been shown to help individuals become more aware of what and how much they eat and drink. The nutrition facts label found on food packaging provides calorie information for each serving of food or beverage and can assist consumers in monitoring their intake. Also, monitoring body weight and physical activity can help prevent weight gain and improve outcomes when actively losing weight or maintaining body weight following weight loss. Eating out. So when eating out, choose smaller portions or lower calorie options. When possible, order a small size options. Share a meal or take home part of the meal. Review the calorie contents of food and beverages offered and choose lower calorie options. Calorie information may be available on menus, in a pamphlet, on food wrappers, or online. Or instead of eating out, cook and eat more meals at home. Learn to prepare, serve, and consume smaller portions of foods and beverages, especially those in high in calories. Individual eats and drink more when provided larger portions. Serving and consuming smaller portions is associated with weight loss and weight maintenance over time. Remember to eat a nutrient-dense breakfast. Not eating breakfast has been associated with excess body weight, especially among children and adolescents. Consuming breakfast also has been associated with weight loss and weight loss maintenance, as well as improved nutrient intakes. And lastly, limit your screen time. In children, adolescents, and adults, screen time, especially television viewing, is directly associated with increased overweight and obesity. Children and adolescents are encouraged to spend no more than 1 to 2 hours each day watching televisions, playing video games, or using the computer, other than for homework. Also, avoid eating while watching televisions, which can result in overeating. Have you heard about body image before? So one of the greatest difficulties we have as a society is achieving and maintaining a healthy weight while also maintaining a healthy body image. So body image is how you see yourself when you look in a mirror or when you picture yourself in your mind. It encompasses what you believe about your own appearance, including your memories, assumptions, and generalizations. How you feel about your body, including your height, shape, and weight, and how you sense and control your body as you move, how you feel in your body, not just about your body. So these are examples of negative and positive body image. Let's start with negative body image. So negative body image means a distorted perceptions of your shapes. You perceive parts of your body unlike they really are. You are convinced that only other people are attractive and that your body size or shape is a sign of personal failure. You feel ashamed, self-conscious, and anxious about your body, and you also feel uncomfortable and awkward in your body. So what about positive body image? It is a clear, true perceptions of your shapes. You see the various parts of your body as they really are. You celebrate and appreciate your natural body shapes, and you understand that a person's physical appearance says very little about their characters and value as a person. You also feel proud and accepting of your unique body and refuse to spend an unreasonable amount of time worrying about food, weight, and calories. And you also feel comfortable and confident in your own body. We all may have our days when we feel awkward or uncomfortable in our bodies, but the key to developing positive body image is to recognize and respect our natural shapes and learn to overpower those negative thoughts and feelings with positive, affirming, and accepting ones. However, people with negative body image have a greater likelihood of developing an eating disorder and are more likely to suffer from feeling depressions, isolations, low self-esteem, and obsessions with weight loss. Anorexia nervosa or anorexia is a type of eating disorders that mainly affects adolescents, girls, and young women, but can also affect men. So a person with this disease has an intense fear of gaining weight and severely limits the food intakes. So individuals of anorexia may have a very low body weight, they refuse to keep a normal body weight, be extremely afraid of becoming fat, they believe they are fat even they are very thin, and women may miss their menstrual periods in a row, usually 3 menstrual periods in a row. Anorexia affects your health because it can damage many parts of your body. So a person with anorexia will have many of these signs. Loses a lot of weight, talks about weight and food all the times, moves food around the plate, doesn't eat it, weighs food and count calories, follows a very strict diet, won't eat in front of others, ignores or denies the hunger, uses extreme measures to lose weight, self-induced vomiting, laxative abuse, diuretic abuse, diet pills, fasting, excessive exercise, thinks she's fat when she's too thin, gets sick a lot, weighs self several times a day, feeling depressed, feels irritable, doesn't socialize, and wears baggy clothes to hide their appearance. Bulimia nervosa, or bulimia on the other hand, is a type of eating disorder. So someone with bulimia eats a lot of food in a short amount of time, like binge eating, and then tries to get rid of the calories by purging. So purging might be done in these ways: making oneself throw up, or taking laxatives, either pills or liquids that increase how fast food moves through your body and leads to a bowel movement. So a person with bulimia may also use these ways to prevent weight gain: exercising a lot, usually more than normal, restricting her eating or not eating at all, like going without food for a day, or even taking diuretics, the pills that makes you urinate. So bulimia is more than just a problem with foods. It's a way of using foods to feel in control of other feelings that may seem overwhelming. Purging and other behaviors to prevent weight gains are ways for people with bulimia to feel more in control of their lives and to ease stress and anxiety. Unlike anorexia, when people are severely underweight, people with bulimia may be underweight, overweight, or have a normal weight. This makes it harder to know if someone has this disease. However, someone with bulimia may have these signs. They think about food a lot, binge, normally in secret. They throw up after binging. They use laxatives, diet pills, or diuretics to control weight. They are usually depressed. They are unhappy or think a lot about their body shapes and weight. They eat large amounts of food quickly. They go to the bathroom all the times after they eat to throw up. They exercise a lot, even during bad weather, fatigue, illness or injury, unusual swelling of the cheeks or jaw area, cuts and calluses on the back of the hands and knuckles from making themselves throw up. White enamel of teeth wears away, making teeth look clear, and doesn't see friends or participate in activities as much. They also have their own rules about food, what is a good food and what is a bad food for them. And with that, our lesson has come to an end. If you wanted to learn more about this topic, click on the additional reading below. With that, thank you very much everyone and have a good day ahead.